In this video, I'm going to show you how to marinate chicken mindfully. Mindfulness is an attitude. It is not associated with activity. If you're familiar with mindfulness, you often associate it with things like meditation, when you're sitting and focusing on your breath, or if you're using breath as an anchor. In that case, you focus on what is happening in your body, and if you find yourself drifting away, then what you focus on your inhalation and exhalation. But mindfulness is not just limited to that. You can pretty much do anything mindfully. Like right now, I'm preparing this chicken mindfully. Now, what is the difference here? What am I doing differently? On the outside, pretty much nothing. I'm not quite well versed in my cooking skills, so that is something pretty obvious, hopefully. Maybe some of you would find it too difficult to bear just to watch me doing this. The difference is not in what I'm doing on the outside, but what I'm doing on the inside. Like right now, when I'm making these pieces, I'm keeping my attention onto this work. Like I'm looking at every single piece. And I'm making sure that my attention is here and now, focused on what I'm doing. I'm not thinking about the past. I'm not thinking about the future. I'm not even thinking about what I'm going to do next after all this. After I have prepared this, after I have made these small pieces. Now the question arises, is mindfulness this simple? Is it just this? And as far as I have understood it, it is pretty much just this. The difficult part is keeping the focus, because our mind has this habit of either being in the future or in the past. It's never here. And if you look at it, that's pretty much the source of all the misery, all the pain. Because unless you are suffering from some terrible illness, unless you're going through something horrible in that particular moment, it could be an emotional experience as well, like somebody is being violent at you, being abused, emotionally abusive with you. So of course in that moment there is a lot of pain, but most of the time the pain we are experiencing in any given moment is often coming from the past, or it is coming from the future. Anticipation of what is going to happen once that person is gone, once that deal has fallen apart. And often, and even more so, it is coming from the what if scenarios where you're thinking about something that could happen. So that is the pain from the future. The pain from the past is always the pain that is about things that has happened to you. See this, what I'm doing is I'm putting this korma paste into these chicken pieces. This looks really nice. It's quite mild, not something that I prefer. Like, yeah, we Indians and Pakistani like spicy food, so for us this is quite mild. And while I'm doing it, I'm making sure I keep my attention here. For me, it is a challenge because I have this tendency as well, like everyone else, to either go back to the past or jump into the future. And here is the important thing about mindfulness. It's not about pleasant memories or unpleasant memories. It's not about that. So when we say stay in the present, we don't think about any of that. Now here's a trick to open a tight bottle. So instead of banging the bottle cap on anything, what you can do is you can pick something like anything, a knife or spoon, and bang it like this. This way it's easier to open rather than other way around. And also it's safer because when you bang this, like if you bang the bottle like this, you risk breaking it, breaking the bottle, glass bottle. But this way it's more, when you are hitting it with a spoon or something, you're in more control. That's one thing you can do. Now what we are doing here, we are putting this paste in. I'll show you what this one is. So these are all chicken breast, and I'm putting all of this paste in it. Again, the focus is stay in the present. It's difficult, I think if you're doing something that requires a lot of attention, then it's easier to keep your mind focused on that activity. But if something is very mundane or doesn't require a lot of thinking, like this activity, becomes difficult to keep your mind focused, to stay in the present. And when we say stay in the, this is one phrase you will hear from a lot of teachers, and this is something you will read in a lot of different books if you decide to take this path. That phrase simply mean focusing on whatever you're doing in that moment, or not even whatever you're focusing on, whatever you're doing in that moment, focusing on that particular moment and just being aware of it. Like right now, I have this box that contain all of this raw chicken, and I have this bottle in which I have put some pieces of chicken to take out the rest of this masala that is inside it. So that is what is my present is right now. There's nothing fancy about it. There's absolutely nothing fancy about it. Now, once I'm done with it, what I'm going to do, I'm going to mix it with both of my hands. Again, while I'm doing it, I'm paying attention to my fingers. I can feel the spice. Sometimes you don't actually need to do, your present is also, if you're doing something like this, and this is very spicy, so your fingers will feel the spice regardless whether your attention is anywhere, whether you're paying attention to it or not. But it's always good to pay attention. And so now what is happening is I'm mixing it, and I'm not just only mixing it, I'm also focusing on the sensation I'm feeling in both of my hands, and also I'm focused on what I'm seeing, right? I'm looking at these chicken pieces moving here and there. And of course it's not just that, I'm also mixing it, so I'm bringing the pieces that are way down below, bringing them up, just moving them upside down, and that is all I need to do. There's nothing fancy here. I'm not much worried about what is going to happen, right? When am I going to do something else? When am I going to just finish this off? Now, I'm not thinking, I would say my mind is thinking all of these things. So it's not like my mind is not thinking about how long it's going to take. Of course my mind is thinking about this. My mind is also thinking about what am I going to do next, because I have my laundry is drying, so I would pick that up. So of course my mind is thinking about all of those things as well. The trick here is the moment you become aware of it, you acknowledge it, and then you bring your focus back. So now I become aware of it, I acknowledge it, I bring my focus back here. It's slightly cold. I'm having a lot, and sometimes you know, like for example, now doing it mindfully, it becomes more challenging because now I can feel all the spice and the irritation that it is creating. And there are two sources of irritation. One is whenever you're doing even meditation, you start feeling irritation in your body. That is one source. And then in my case, because my hands are literally inside this box filled with spices, so spice itself is a source of irritation. And then there is the sense of urgency, like when is it going to end? That is also something that is there. So what to do about that? Well, acknowledge it. So I'm just acknowledging it. I'm acknowledging I have this sense of urgency. When is it going to be over? And you know what? In life, no matter what your struggles are, whatever you're going through, maybe it's something mundane, maybe something not so mundane, everything comes to an end, because we ourselves are temporary, right? We are not We are not like rocks that are there for millions of years. We have very finite lifespans. So no matter what your worries are, you will grow out of them, or you will leave them behind. Would be over eventually. Because no matter how permanent your situation is, your life is not permanent, right? So it's going to end anyway. It's going to end either before or with your life. So nothing is actually permanent, right? Now see, my mind took me to all of that, and now I again bring it back here. Focus on this mushy sensation. So yeah, so now this thought that I just shared with you, it's just a thought, every thought is just a thought and nothing more than that. If I identify with my thoughts, then it's going to bring me pain and misery. But if I just see it just as a thought, as a writing on the sky, right? I let it come and I let it go, regardless of whether it was a pleasant thought, unpleasant thought, happy thought, sad thought. I just let it be, let it take the stage for a moment, and then let it pass. It'll be fine. See, now we have reached the end of it, and it's done, it's over. I hope you find this video beneficial. I enjoy making it. I hope you enjoy watching it as much as I enjoy making it. Take care.